Hello and welcome to the ScatterVolt channel, and today let me show you how to build a $300 gaming PC in 2023 using all new parts. The title is not clickbait. The case is $40, the RAM is $35, the motherboard $80, the SSD $19, the power supply $38, and the processor and graphics card $100. That comes out to $312, which is a little bit over $300, but if you made this PC at your local Micro Center, you could get a $20 off discount between the CPU and the motherboard, which would put this build at $292. So now that we've established that this is a $300 gaming PC and not clickbait, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to build it, how to put it together step by step, how to install drivers, Windows 10, the 1080p gaming performance possible with this computer, and then wrapping up the video with my final thoughts on this $300 super budget gaming PC. So before we get into the build guide, I just want to let you guys know that all of the parts I'll be talking about and featuring in this video can be found in the description below if you're interested in checking any of them out for yourself, if you want to build this PC for yourself or for a friend, doesn't matter, it's $300. So I know I'm about to show you guys how to build a $300 gaming PC, but what if I told you you can actually buy a custom gaming PC for less that'll outperform it for gaming? 9 times out of 10, building a custom gaming PC will be better than getting a pre-built, unless you're buying one from Java.gg. Java.gg is arguably the best marketplace for PC gamers when it comes to buying custom gaming PCs and new or used PC components. And just like what I was saying, you can get this $280 gaming PC with an i5 and an RX 560 dedicated graphics card for $280. And straight up, it's gonna outperform the $300 gaming PC I'm about to show you that you can build. Yeah, you can only really find those kinds of computers on Java.gg. That is just how cool of a website it is. But it also isn't just a great marketplace for PCs, it's also really cool for buying new and used components, especially graphics cards. So if you do end up building this computer, consider buying a dedicated graphics card from Java.gg for a discounted price. And one of the best parts about it is that you can message the seller and know exactly what you're getting into, see what the card's been through and what it's like, and know exactly with confidence what you're buying. All in all, what makes Java.gg really special is that it's a website for PC gamers by PC gamers. It's really friendly with a great community and always focused on getting you the most bang for your buck across all price ranges, from budget to mid-range to high-end. So if you want to learn more about Java.gg and maybe even buy a computer or sell a graphics card you have on hand, then I have a link to the website at the top of the description or in my pinned comment. Okay, so in order to build this computer, all you're going to need is a Phillips head screwdriver. This is what we'll use for installing all the components inside the computer. Then a smaller Phillips head 1 screwdriver for the M.2 SSD, aka the main storage in your computer. And then an 8GB or bigger flash drive for your Windows bootable media device to install Windows onto this gaming PC. And if you want to know how to create one of these yourself for free, I've already created a video tutorial that's going to be linked in the description or as a card on screen if you want to learn how to do that before you build. All right, so for the processor and graphics card, because yes, that is a thing, we have chosen the Ryzen 5 4600G. This is an APU, aka an all-in-one processor, because on the processor end, it's a 6-core, 12-threaded CPU that is overclockable, but on the graphics end, it contains Vega 7 integrated graphics. So whenever you build this computer, you're gonna be plugging in your HDMI cable into the motherboard, not where there be a graphics card. So let's keep this on hand. For the motherboard, we are going with the B450M DS3H Wi-Fi from Gigabyte, $80 on Amazon. Contains Wi-Fi, it's gonna be good for the 4600G out of the box, no problems with it. So go ahead and take this out of the box, set it to the side, and let's remove this. This right here is an IO shield. You will need this, so set it aside somewhere, and that is it. Other than the user manual that comes with the motherboard, which you can scan this QR code for if you want to access the motherboard manual and learn all the things that go with this motherboard. If you want to learn how to put in the front IO pins in the right spot, the USB pins in the right spot, it's all in here. Next for the RAM, we're going with a 2x8GB kit of RAM from Silicon Power that again costs 35 bucks. These clock in at 3200 megahertz at a cast latency of 16 and they will do the job. Then for our SSD, to make budget, we are going with a 256GB M.2 SSD from FickWatt. And the reason why I chose this fairly obscure M.2 SSD as our boot drive and our game drive for now is because it does come with semi-NVMe speeds. It's not a SATA drive that hooks over M.2, and it does have a form of SLC caching, which is better than nothing. And there you have it. This is going to contain Windows and the games that we can store on it. So to start this computer, unbox your 4600G and locate the triangle on the bottom right of the CPU. And then locate the triangle here on the top left of the socket. Then go ahead and open up the latch, line up the two triangles, and you should just be able to drop down the CPU gently, like that. Give it a little shake, it is in, press in the lever, and there you go. This is what the CPU should look like in the motherboard socket. Next up, we have the RAM. So you're going to choose the two slots that are farthest away from the CPU with a slot in between. Don't ask me why, this is just how it always is. And these slots here on the RAM go in a certain way because they're different sizes. So that it's incorrect, so we'll flip that around, open this up, put it in. And we'll get the other one, and make sure to click these in all the way. There we go. Now next, grab your M.2 SSD and your Phillips head 1 screwdriver. Unscrew this little screw here where your M.2 SSD is gonna go. We have that out. Now let's go ahead and put this in. As you'll notice, there's a little notch right here on the M.2 SSD indicating that this will only go in a certain way, like so. There we go, that is in. Now let's go ahead and put back on the screw to help clamp this down. All right, now next let's go ahead and install the CPU cooler, which is inside the box of the CPU. You don't need to get your own. Now to install the CPU cooler onto the 4600G, you have to go ahead and unscrew these two black brackets here. And with those out of the way, we now have the 4 holes for the back plate exposed. And now we can go ahead and mount the CPU cooler, which by the way, already has thermal paste pre-applied, so no need to get your own. I like to face it this way with the logo on this side, put it in on the 4 holes, line it up, grab your Phillips head screwdriver, screw in one corner halfway, go to the other corner, screw this in halfway. Just make sure that all the screws make contact with the threads. Go to the other side, screw this in halfway. Go to this side, screw it in halfway. And now that contact has been made, let's go ahead and screw in each of these screws all the way. All right, now we should be able to pick this up from the CPU cooler, all good. And the last thing I want you to do is to plug in the CPU cooler here into the CPU fan header on the motherboard. And you should be right here with your $300 gaming PC build. Now let's go ahead and put this inside the PC case. So in order to put the motherboard into the PC case, first let's go ahead and open it up. Now this case here is really unique. I forgot the name of it. I think it's like GameMax M60, but this doesn't have any side panels that are glass or acrylic, but they are mesh. There we go, take that out, move this side panel here. And now here's where we can access the screws we need to install the motherboard and anything else in this PC case, including a dedicated graphics card down the line. While we're at it, let's go ahead and open up the rear side panel because that'll be helpful. So here are all the screws we'll need to install the motherboard and other accessories into the PC case. So have this handy. And then if we throw this around to the back side of the PC case, here are all of our front I/O cables, which are just our power supply button, or not power supply button, our power button, reset button, audio jacks, and USBs. So these will all attach to the motherboard. And if you don't know where to put what inside this PC case, if you're not watching this video, you do have this handy little manual here from GameMax showing you how to install the M60. We're also given one rear fan in this PC case, which will plug into the motherboard as we install the motherboard into the case. But before doing any of that, remember your I/O shield from earlier? Let's go ahead and take care of that right now. So here's your I/O shield. This is a flat side to it, and this is a side with sticky pokey bits that are sticking out. You want to have the side with the pokey bits sticking out facing inward in the PC case and the flat side on the outside. And this is going to go right here there's like these 4 corners here on the IO shield that you're gonna wanna line up with the 4 corners on the PC case. We're actually gonna wanna install this from the inside. There we go. Press in all 4 corners. Make sure they make a clicking sound, and there you go. So you're gonna wanna use these screws to install the motherboard into the PC case. These can be found in the baggie that came with the PC case. And you're gonna want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these screws because there are 7 standoff holes on this motherboard. However, right now in the PC case, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 standoffs. We need 1 more, which is gonna be this one right here. And fortunately, in this baggie right here, or rather unfortunately, there isn't an extra standoff we can put right here. So we'll just have to work without it, but that's okay because there isn't a physical graphics card in this build that stressed the motherboard too much. So there is 1 missing standoff, but that's okay. So go ahead and drop down the motherboard. Line it up with the IO shield, press it up, and then you should be able to line up the standoff holes with the standoffs. Grab your Phillips head screwdriver and your screw. I'm gonna press this in, and we're going to screw in this screw. There you go, let's make contact. I'm gonna press in this, line it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and screw in each of these screws, but I'm not going to screw each of them in entirely. I'm gonna kind of screw them in halfway, and then I'll go ahead and tighten each one individually once all screws are in. All right, I've got all the screws in, so let me go ahead and tighten in this side, crisscross, go to the other side, go to this side, go to this side, and tighten each of these up. And with that, that is all the screws we need. But we do have this spare case fan right here, so let's go ahead and plug this into the motherboard. And we do have a fan header right here to the left of the CPU cooler, and we'll plug this in. There you go. Okay, and with that, let's go ahead and install the power supply, which for this build, I've gone with a 500 watt 80 plus bronze power supply from Enermax. This is their Cyber Bronze. It's one of the cheapest 500 watt power supplies you can get, but it's not too terrible. Anyways, here is your power outlet cable you'll use from the power supply to your wall outlet. Here is the power supply. And note, you don't need this exact power supply in order to make this PC build work. Any 400 watt or greater power supply will be all right for this build. But note that if you do want to throw in a dedicated graphics card down the line in this PC build, you will probably need a bigger power supply depending on the graphics card. So with a 500 watt, you should be able to support most budget graphics cards, except for those really high-end ones like say a 3070 or a 6700 XT. For those, you're probably looking more towards 650. So the screws you'll need to install this power supply come in the box. So let's go ahead and empty these out. To install the power supply in the case, fan side facing down, slide it in here. And then we're gonna wanna line this up with the 4 holes here on the back of the PC case right here. Now grab your Phillips head screwdriver, grab one of these screws, line it up, and start screwing. There you have it, and for the moment, keep the switch here on the power supply to the O. When we're ready to boot it up for the first time, we'll switch it to the line, but keep it at the O. And with that done, now all we have left to do is just to plug in our power cables into the motherboard and our front I/O cables into the motherboard as well. So let's go ahead and take care of the power supply cables first. So let's start with the motherboard power connector. This has a latch here, and this is a little notch. Line the two together, bring this around. This will only go in one way, and make sure this is firmly pressed in. There you go. Next, we have the CPU power connector, which says CPU. We're gonna put this here on the top left. There's a notch on the bottom and a latch on the top of this connector. Line the two up. This will only go in one way. Make sure it makes a solid click. Down here is your USB 3.0 connector, and if you're confused where this is, refer to your motherboard manual. There you can find it located on your motherboard, or just continue watching this video. There's a little notch here on the connector that'll line up with the actual connection, meaning it'll only go in one way. Next is the HD audio connector. This is gonna plug in the far left of the motherboard. Again, refer to the motherboard manual if you don't know where it goes. And this will only go in one way. Next, we have our USB 2.0 connector, which is gonna go right next to the 3.0 connector where it says USB on the motherboard and in the manual. And once again, this will only go in one way. And here we have all of the front I/O connectors for the power button, the reset button, HD LED, all that fun stuff. Now, the exact layout for this can be found in the motherboard manual, and it's not too hard to follow. So HDD LED is gonna go on the bottom 2 left pins, and right next to that will be the reset switch. It should look like that. And then right above the HDD LED should go the 2 power switch LEDs, just like that. And then next to the power LED goes the power switch, which is the most important one. And there you have it. All right, so quite a bit of time has passed, but I am resuming this build here and I've got it all finished up. I've got everything plugged in, and now I'm gonna go ahead and start the process of installing Windows onto it. So to do this, it's pretty easy. Just make sure you have the power cable found from your power supply box plugged into the back of the computer. Flick that switch on the power supply from the O to the line, then plug in an HDMI cable from the computer to your monitor. Of course, don't forget to provide power for your monitor so it can actually turn on, keyboard, mouse, and then your Windows bootable media device. Now this, you can make this yourself through the tutorial found in the description below showing you how to create a Windows bootable media device, whether that be Windows 10 or 11, off of one of these. And with that, let's go ahead, plug this in, and boot up the computer. Okay, and if everything went well, you should be able to install Windows. So hit install now. You don't have to enter your product key here, but if you have one, go ahead and do that. You can choose Windows 11 Home or Pro, doesn't matter. Go ahead and hit yes on the accept. Custom. There is our teeny tiny SSD. Let's go ahead and select that for Windows and go ahead and wait. All right, and you should reach this screen. Go ahead and choose your country. Choose whatever keyboard layout you want. Add a second one if you want. Now let's go ahead and connect you to internet. So let's go ahead and take care of that. So you're welcome to name your computer, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. Now here's where you need to sign into your Microsoft account. That could be on a Hotmail account, could be on a Gmail account, but go ahead and take care of that now, or otherwise create one. So if you're given this option, say if you're reinstalling from another computer, you're welcome to do that. But since this is a brand new computer, hit on view more options, set up as a new device, hit next, and here we can go ahead and create our PIN. This will be your password, and there you go. So for all of these privacy settings, I like to turn them off because they're just extra processes running in the background that could bug up the computer. Hit accept, skip, don't need that. Don't need Android for my computer. Don't need Microsoft 365. Don't need more OneCloud storage. Don't need Game Pass. And there you go, you've made it. Okay, and once you're here at this default Windows 11 desktop, now let's go ahead and install our graphics card drivers and chipset drivers. So for the moment, we're gonna use Microsoft Edge. Let's go ahead and type in Radeon drivers into our search engine. Then let's go here to AMD.com on this topmost link. And if you're too lazy to find the exact processor with the integrated graphics, you can just click on this. That'll automatically detect what you've got. Let's go ahead and open that, hit yes, install. Now here it's gonna show what the recommended driver is. Let's go ahead and install that. And look at that, it's also going to install the chipset drivers needed for our motherboard. So that is awesome too. And right here, where it says finish and restart, we've got our chipset and graphics card drivers installed. So now let's go ahead and restart and do one last thing in the BIOS. So go ahead and hit the delete key on your keyboard when your PC reboots. And now here, while you're in the BIOS, let's go ahead and enable XMP. So let's go ahead and click on easy mode. Here we can see everything we need in the BIOS, and really there's only one thing we gotta do. Go ahead and enable XMP. So click on that. It should say profile 1 or something different depending on your motherboard. And you know what, let's check one more thing. Here where it says resizable bar support, let's go ahead and set that to auto, which means above 4G decoding is enabled. That's just gonna give us just a tiny bit extra performance on this APU. Let's go ahead and hit save and exit setup. And with that, you are now ready to get to gaming. The gamer glasses are on. It's time to play Fortnite. Okay, so this again is a $300 computer. We're about to run Fortnite, and in order to do that, we are running the game with the Performance API. There you can see right there, but we do have everything else turned on to the max with epic view distance, high textures. Anyways, FPS is on the top left. If you like what you see, great for a $300 computer. But oh, hey, let's go ahead and try my best to get those Fortnite dubs. So far, just walking around, we're getting, what, 75 frames per second? For a $300 computer, that ain't too shabby. Oh, now we're in the hundreds. Okay, nice. There's a guy in there. Oh, come on. Oh, and like that, they cower in fear, have to build. Can't play like an old school shooter and take cover. They gotta build it. Hey. Oh yeah, build, you You scaredy cat. I'm not gonna build because I got balls actually, unlike these guys. Oh, hey. Eat this! Woo! That's right, no balls. So far we got 1 kill. Not that bad, not that bad. Oh! The experience, it's definitely playable. And you know, when you're on the ground, I don't notice that many frame drops, but when you're in the sky and you're dropping down from the battle bus, yeah, there's some little bit of lag right there. Oh! Let me play the game. Now, let me ruin your party right here, brother. Oh my... Dude, that is so cheese. Oh my god, what is this gun? Oh, what have we won? Oh, hey, is this another kill? Woo! I'm cooking right now in Fortnite with the gamer glasses, and we got a dip. You know what? Overall, I am decently pleased with the performance. Oh! Oh, is this a skill issue? Oh, yeah, I mean, the only lag I'm getting is when I'm dropping down, but that always happens in Fortnite. All right, 1 more kill. Yep. All right. There it is. There's Fortnite. Let's move on to the next game. All right. We're going to be playing Call of Duty Warzone DMZ. We have the graphics pretty much turned all the way down low. But important thing to note is that we have AMD FSR turned on to ultra performance. And again, everything is at very low. And let's check out that frame rate, which once again is on the top left. Let's see what happens. Are we in a boat? What are we doing? And why is this music playing? Just let me play the freaking game. Once again, this is a $300 computer, mind you, and we're getting a, well, I mean, this is definitely playable. It's just not, you know, amazing. If this had a dedicated graphics card, then, you know, be getting a lot more frame rates. Although it's not getting 60 frames per second, if you were to bump down the resolution to say 720p, I bet you could. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's do that right now. Let's see what happens. All right, so the recording for my 720p resolution gameplay of DMZ got corrupted, so here it is, doing it again. Frame rate on the top left, and all the graphics settings are the same. I just lowered the resolution to 1280 by 720, and we're getting 60 now. 60 frames per second. All right, check this out. $300 gaming PC versus DMZ. What can we do? Getting that guy. I mean, the responsiveness is great. It's just the graphics, you know, they look like they're on a $300 gaming PC. I'm here to prove a point that a $300 gaming PC can run DMZ. So just chugging along, we're getting just at 60 frames per second. Like I said, this is definitely playable. It's not holding back my capabilities at any means. It just doesn't look the best. You know what? Have you gotten the message yet? I think this is good. Yeah, this is good. You can run Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Let's move on to the next game. Okay, believe it or not, this computer can run Grand Theft Auto 5. Once again, $300 gaming computer, you get what you pay for. FPS is on the top left, and we are running the game at 1080p. Now, before we move forward, I want to quickly show you the graphics settings to again show you what we're dealing with. Graphics, 1080p, FXAA, oh boy. Oh yeah, it's really not liking the menus right now. Everything though is at normal. Yeah, so pretty much normal settings, 1080p, just with FXAA turned on as our only form of anti-aliasing. And now let's go ahead and drive. Now again, this isn't a true representation of Grand Theft Auto 5's actual performance, because I know online is a totally different beast. But we are getting around 50-ish frames per second right now. Again, if we lower the resolution to 720p, we'd be getting easily above 60, like what we saw on Modern Warfare. I've ran this so many times. I know where this guy's going. And he's gonna really hit it, and I'm just gonna try to stick it. But yeah, getting about 47 frames per second. Oh, that was a spin out. It's playable for sure. Oh, that's a little stutter right there. But again, like, we're not quite hitting that 60 frame per second mark that I think a Ryzen 5 5600G would. You can definitely play Grand Theft Auto 5 at 1080p and certainly at 720p. Let's go ahead and close out the video. Okay, so there you have it. This is the $300 gaming PC that you can technically build in 2023. Now, I've done a few modifications to it. I had a spare RGB CPU cooler lying around from a previous build that I never actually featured it in, so I wanted to go ahead and use it. And I had some spare case fans from another case that were also white that I thought I'd go ahead and throw in here, but those aren't necessary to complete this build. It's just some extra jazz to spice up this $300 computer that I ultimately wouldn't recommend. Even my $400 gaming PC build I released back in December is a much better platform to build off of, because at least in that one, you are given a Ryzen 5 5600G, which is a much better APU than the 4650G, I think, in this PC build. Sorry, it's been a while since I filmed the start of it and the end of this build, but it's a much better CPU to work with, and also the case itself is better, because this one is so cheap for a reason, to make budget. And in doing so, you really harm kind of the future upgradability of this computer, because there's no front intake, as you can see, and that will not bode well for higher end dedicated graphics cards. Also, we've had to skimp out on the storage too in order to make budget. So there's only a 256 gigabyte M.2 SSD in here when there could be like at least a 500 gig if it were a $400 computer. So there's that holding it back as well. And I think the power supply too is very much bottom tier, which there's nothing wrong with it, but if you had a $400 APU gaming PC, you could at least have a larger power supply that is a bit more future-proof that can allow you to throw in a graphics card down the line. But ultimately, in this price range, I'd go used. I'd build yourself a used gaming PC, maybe even kind of convert an old Dell Optiplex into a gaming PC with a dedicated graphics card, because that is going to be a lot better than this, working with those integrated graphics at that price point. And I think you're taking too many sacrifices for like everything else just to make it run in the first place, like the case, the storage, and other components in this build. But was it a fun video to make? Yeah, it was fun to see how well a $300 gaming PC could perform in 2023 conceptually. But do I ultimately recommend this? I'd at least build a $500 gaming PC like what I released earlier this year, with a dedicated graphics card and a dedicated processor. So that is it for this $300 gaming PC build video. And if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, then give this video a like. Yeah, you probably should. If you've literally been watching up to this point, that means you've enjoyed it. Give it a like, and do consider subscribing to the ScatterVolt channel, because there's gonna be more PC build videos releasing this summer. So more to come. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, and this is the ScatterVolt channel signing out.